What's going on, everyone? American Leeds, the American Leeds YouTube channel. My name is Alex Simon. I am currently in an undisclosed hotel room broadcasting to you. This will be pre-recorded, and then we'll do a premiere for it. Best way to support the channel right now is to smash the like. I'm very honored and humbled to have the best like ratio in the YouTube content creation game. What do I mean by that? More people like my content by percentage than anyone else in the YouTube game. You're mad. You're mad, Alex. I know what you're saying. Example, if 500 people watch this video, on average, 40 to 50% of it, people like it. This is huge to me. It means a lot. And I thank you. So let's go for percentages of likes. Thank you. On to the rundown. I want to talk about Phil Hay, his take on the international break, a little bit of foreshadowing in terms of the injury situation, which isn't too bad. We have a fairly deep squad. Want to talk about the table, the bookies, where they see Leeds United finishing, and a little clip from a YouTube content creator called Ben HD. Firpo. Want to talk about Firpo and his potential in the side. Twitter top 10, your comments, and where Alex was right and where Alex was wrong so far. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get into Phil Hay and his comments on Leeds United. He was asked on the square ball about it. And you might need to turn your volume up to hear.
Leeds going into the international break then in pretty rude health. What do you think they need to do or not do over the next week or two? Obviously, you want everybody to come back from their international stays with no injuries for a start. And for example, we've seen Jorginho Ruta now called up to the France 21s. Maybe Thierry Henry can teach him a little bit about finishing.
Yeah, I do think that's right. I think the key for this international break will be everybody coming back fit. I mean, Farke didn't seem totally delighted when he was asked about it at the post-match press conference about the fact that the Rotherham game had been moved to the Friday night. He was saying that there'll be players who come back who probably won't be able to train, go through a full training session before they go to that fixture. And clearly Rotherham don't have the same weight of international players, although like he said, and he's absolutely right about this, it's not Rotherham's decision and it's not their fault. You know, they're not banging on at Sky to have that on a Friday night. In terms of the team, I don't really feel like there's too much that needs to change. I think if you go back to last season, every time the international breaks came around, or the World Cup break or whatever else, there were pretty obvious things that you felt that Leeds should be working on and focusing on, things that needed to improve. I don't see it in the same way this time out. I think they're settled in the patterns of play. Those patterns of play are working. I think a hell of a lot of the players are banging form at the moment, which is a really good thing. But it is a long road now to the end of March when your next break comes around. So this period coming up is absolutely crucial. And I suspect Farke will let them have a breather because they're not going to get much of one from here on.
Well, there you go. Enjoy the international break, Phil. Any big plans?
So we head into the international break. It'll be a long way to go until the next international break. I think that by and large, these international breaks are pretty silly. I don't know what purpose I think it's a stop-start nature to the football that's been happening, and I think it's a detriment to the players' development. But we do have a lot of players that are on international duty. We want them to be healthy, and I think moving it to a Friday is going to be difficult for us because we have more international players. But them's the breaks. So we move forward. The table's tight. I mean, I think that, I'm never going to get too high and I'm never going to get too low as far as what we're doing in the side, unless we're, running away with the league. But let's look at the table because it's tight, and this is the championship. And of course, we're getting better as far as our standings, and we've been in third for a few weeks now. But this is the table as it sits right now. Leicester have dropped 2 games in a row. They have yet to draw a game, which I find interesting. They sit on 39 points, 16 matches played, 13 wins, 0 draws, 3 losses, 29 goals. They've scored only conceded 10, goal difference of 19 plus 19. Ipswich Town stand in second with 16 matches played, so they're all level. No more games in hand for Ipswich. They are at 36 goals. 36 goals, by far the most in the championship. Isn't that amazing for a newly promoted side? They have conceded 21 goals, and that, to me, is their possible undoing. 21 goals is quite a bit. They've conceded at least 2 goals a game, I think, for the last 3 matches. And in case the cup game, which was a fully rotated side for Ipswich, they conceded 3. They have a goal difference of plus 15. No losses in their last 5. Leeds United coming at third with 27 goals we've scored, 16 goals conceded, a goal difference of 11. So not completely terrible in terms of, goal difference does act as a point. So something that can easily be closed on. 39 points. So there is still that drop between second and third, isn't there? We are 8 points back currently. 8 points back currently. Southampton nipping at our heels at 30 points. They have 27 goals. They've conceded 26 times and a goal difference of plus 1. Preston at 28. So look, we are, if we're being realist, if we're being pessimists, we are still closer to 8th than we are 2nd. And that is the championship. That is the nature of the championship. It's a dogfight. And do I think that we can still close the gap between with Ipswich and Leicester? Absolutely. I think Leicester is a funny one. I think Leicester can falter. I don't know if their system is really taking into account the amount of opportunities they need to create chances. I think that comment still lingers with me that Enzo said that we need to create many, many passes before we score, which is something that Pep does with this kind of keep away and dictate the game through possession. But at the same time, I also think about possession with purpose, which is something Gier says on his channel, The View. Possession with purpose. And there seems to be times where Leicester City has possession, but there's no purpose behind it. There's no movement. It just seems to be passing the ball along the back line into the midfield, and there's no real movement off the ball. So Leicester might be in a little bit of a rut. Ipswich, again, I think the concession of goals will catch up to them. It's hard to score 3 goals a game and not, eventually falter, eventually drop points. It's going to catch up with them, their back line. But I have to say, it's quite amazing that their system is really good. Their patterns of play are really good. And they are going to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. However, and I think they're a shoo-in for the playoffs. However, I think that back line needs to be shored up. There's just so many times that you can get away with that being that open, and I think teams will eventually adapt to that. We'll see. We'll see how they continue to switch on, and I think they're aware of how open they are. I think they've tried to make some rotations in their back line. With us, I think we're just hitting our stride. With Leeds United, I think we're hitting our stride. I think what's interesting to me is that the players are starting to know their roles. Even when I think about the players coming off the bench for 5 to 10 minutes, like a Bamford, like a Nanto coming on maybe with 15 minutes to go, I think the players are starting, even on the bench, they know where they are, what the pecking order is. Everything's very clear to them. I mean, there might be players like, Charlie Cresswell that's still kind of fighting for a place in this team because of injury, but I just feel so much more comfortable where we know as fans, and the team probably knows, it names itself each week and the bench names itself each week. There's no kind of confusion where I felt like so many times in the past 3 years, we've been trying to put square pegs, round holes, and trying to put together a starting lineup that makes sense. So it's just refreshing. And you're really starting to see that system be embedded. And I think it's really just getting better and better and better. It's like a stew that your mom made, and it's just like, she made it over the weekend, but by day 3, it's been sitting in the fridge, and all that the juices from the meats are blending together, and it's just, that's what's happening with with Leeds United. I mean, it's good to see. I'm excited about it. You should be excited about it. Let's hear what Ed TV content creator, I think he must follow the EFL, really liked what he had to say. He did a little segment on the bookies, and I will just share that little segment that he did about the championship table and what the bookies have to say about the top 4 and Leeds United possibility of being automatically promoted.
At the end of the season is pretty reasonable for Michael Carrick's side with what they've shown they're capable of. The top 4 is where things get really interesting, though. In 4th place, the bookies then have Southampton, and that's not a change from last time. The bookies in the last international break had Southampton with the 4th best odds for promotion, and that's still where they have them today. Now, Southampton did hit a bit of a rocky patch in one part of the season, but they've more than recovered since that point, have scored plenty of late goals along the way, but they have had that killer instinct about them recently, and that's what promotion outfits are made out of. It's a good unbeaten run they currently find themselves on, and if there is a slip up in one of those sides in the top 2, Southampton look like they're capable of capitalising on a few mistakes right now. But the next call by the bookies is arguably their biggest one yet. Despite Ipswich being on a 12-game unbeaten run, they've actually knocked them down 1 place in the promotion standings. Ipswich sliding down to 3rd in the table. Now, Ipswich have been on a really interesting run recently, obviously. 12 games unbeaten is absolutely staggering. They've done a magnificent job to go ahead and maintain that record. Performance levels have been a little bit up and down. They've fluctuated quite a bit between the last international break and this part of the season right here. And obviously, the obvious weakness that a lot of people have picked up upon is the amount of goals they've been conceding recently and whether or not that's sustainable for a promotion bid in the top 2. But the amount of goals they're scoring right now, particularly at Portman Road, is absolutely off the charts. In their first 16 league matches, they've scored 36 goals, which blows everyone else in the Championship out of the water. Now, at the start of the season, even finishing, remotely close to the top six would have been seen as a massive stride forward for this Ipswich side in their first season back up in the Championship. But they're now in a position where they are 8 points clear of Leeds in third. They've only lost one of their opening 16 matches this season, but for whatever reason, the bookies thinks that one of the sides below them might be about to close in. And I must admit, the promotion odds are quite close at this region of the table, but the bookies have gone ahead and bumped up Leeds by 1 place from last time. Now, Leeds, on the whole, have been on a really good run of form recently under Daniel Farke. They've been fantastic to watch, and on their day, I think along with Ipswich, are one of the best attacking units in the league. With that front four they've got, the interchange in play is absolutely fantastic. They've won 6 of their last 7 matches, and I think are more than capable of going on an extended run of wins like we've already seen Leicester and the like doing in the past. What Leeds need to do now, though, to climb above Ipswich is make 8 points up on them, which won't be easy. But then still coming in at the top of the tree with being the odds-on side for promotion right now and the overwhelming favourites to win the Championship, it is still Leicester City. Now, Leicester have had a bit of a wobble recently, and heading into this international break are coming into it on the back of 2 consecutive 1-0 losses. Obviously, 2 very tight games that Leicester...
All right, we know about Leicester's wobble, but look, 8 points, we can certainly close that gap. And here's where I get excited. We are playing Ipswich on the 23rd of December. I have been circling this one on my calendar. It is a automatic promotion 6-pointer. We talk about relegation 6-pointers. Well, deservingly so. We are going to have a promotion 6-pointer. Maybe it's this early in the season, but this will do the double on Ipswich. And if we can, to my mind, if we can be 6 points back of Ipswich, which is almost conservative at that point. If they keep winning, we keep winning, and for whatever reason the gap is 6 points, and we go into that game and we can close it to 3, they'll be sweating bullets, my friends. They will be nervous, cat on a hot tin roof. If we win that game and we close it to 3 points before the new year, I just think I would be very bullish on Leeds United doing that. Now, we have to keep winning. Southampton have turned it around, of course, and all the other, we just went over the table, all the other clubs, Preston, Sunderland, West Brom, Hull City, Cardiff, really are all, a couple games back of us. I would even say, in the case of even Preston sitting in 5th, a really bad weekend could turn it, could send us down to the playoff spots. So it is very, very close. I want to talk a little bit about Junior Firpo. I rewatched the game. This is going to be more of my long form podcast. We're going to hopefully get the band back together later, but I rewatched Firpo in the game, in the Plymouth game. He was, in my estimation, at fault for that goal that we conceded. He was playing too high. Ampadu had to come back and cover. Ampadu almost sniffed out the danger, but it was too late. And a really well executed goal, you have to say, from Preston's point of view. But there was some interesting play going forward from Junior Firpo. I do have to say, he does play end-to-end football. He almost goes with overlaps and underlaps to that touch line, to about level with the goalkeeper and as far as his runs, his attacks. Sam Byram does not do that. Sam Byram is also injured. He is injury prone. We are gonna see Junior Firpo, and I have been one of his harshest critics. I still am. I don't think he has it in him. I mean, you're looking at Strauch, who's played on a double hernia. I mean, Bill Allen would kill to be in this side. He would absolutely kill to be in this side. He just doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't have it. Bill is too slow. He's makes too many mistakes. Junior Firpo has ability. He's still a young man. But you got to have the will. And that is something that I questioned. I remember when I think Bielsa's last win, the Jack Harrison hat trick game at West Ham, he pulled up with a hamstring injury, and we're fighting for our lives, our Premier League lives, and he pulls up with a hamstring. Luckily, I believe either Strauch or Hjelde, I mentioned this before, came in and put in a shift. But at the time, I was like, how could you possibly... I mean, I don't know his body. I don't know what's going on, but how could you possibly pull up with a hamstring injury? And he just sat down and waited for the trainers and asked to be subbed off. It just, that was a moment in time where I thought this guy doesn't have it. But there's been moments where I think he's shown flashes. So different league, different level. I'm not going to wipe the slate clean, but I'm going to see what he can do at this level. And he's been out a significantly long time. It just does seem a little bit, he's got to earn his spot. We're way for thin at that position again. And so his services are going to be available. That's really all I can say about Junior Firpo. He did some interesting bits. I think he did some positive things. He was absolutely, in my opinion, at fault for that goal. Let's go over my Twitter kind of top 10. I just want to go over some of the stuff that happened from the weekend, some other little bits that I think a lot of people have been commenting on, but and some bits that I don't think are as big of a deal. Michael Scubala, Scoobs, named as League One side Lincoln City's team manager. Well deserved to Scoobs. I think a fan favorite, took over for Jesse Marsh, kind of righted the ship in many respects with the media and the car salesman thing that was going on with, I don't know what was going on with Jesse. But Scoobs did, he took the helm, fan favorite. I think he was a good steward to the club. I think he did a good job with the U21s. So Scoobs, all the best to you, my friend. Good guy too, I would say. Taylor sacked at Rotterdam. I think this is going to be interesting. Rotterdam let go of Matt Taylor. They will have a new manager. I don't know if that's been announced. 80th birthday to title-winning manager Howard Wilkinson. Happy 80th, 80 candles, my friend. And the more I unpack about Leeds United, the more I love about Leeds United. I love the history of this club. So title-winning manager Howard Wilkinson. Many happy returns. A lot of people commented on Leeds United youngster Finley Gorman 15 joining Manchester City. Here's my 2 cents on that one. We got a good deal out of it. There's not much that we can do. And if I'm Finley Gorman, quite honestly, the deal's rumored to be in the 7 figures, maybe I believe as high as 5. I could be wrong on that. No, 2 to 3 million reported. Good for him. Hopefully it's life-changing money. But here's the thing. For every Finley Gorman, there is a player maybe that didn't make it. I mean, when you look at Manchester City, they can just go out and buy. Let's say he's an attacking midfielder. Let's say he's going to be a 10. They're just going to buy. Man City's just going to buy the best number 10 in the world, right? Like, he could be great. He'd go through the club ranks, and City will just buy a Brazilian, or they'll buy, the Argentinian best number 10 that fits their system on Atletico Madrid or whatever system they're coming out of. And sorry, Finley, you're making the bench, or you're going to be loaned out. That's really maybe the source of revenue. You'll be loaned out to another Premier League side. So I think it's great. I think he had bags of talent. Yes, it's lost for Leeds United. In terms of the Finley Gorman perspective, I don't think, to me, I think it's the money. We make it too complicated about the treble and all this other stuff. Jack Harrison was at Manchester United when they were doing all their, making all their noise and winning all their trophies. And he wound up going to America. He was in the same, class as, his name's on the top of my head. Anyways, he was in the Marcus Rashford. He was in the same squad as Marcus Rashford. He wound up coming to America. His whole story from there. But it just seems to me, I think making it at that club is very, very difficult to do. And few and far between. The Oscar Bobs of the world are very few and far between. I mean, the Phil Fodens of the world are very rare. Very, very rare. The fact is they could lose Phil Foden and they still buy Jack Grealish. So do I think that Finley Gorman's going to be the next biggest thing at Manchester City? I don't. Do I think that he's going to be, a really good asset for them that develops and they sell onto? Yes. And that's the value that they got. And as far as them possibly rating other players in our U21 system, I mean, 2 to 3 million for a 15-year-old isn't bad business. I'm sorry, in my opinion. So hopefully we don't get put over as mugs. And I don't think we will. The new dawn, new day 49ers are in town. All right, that's that. I think this is the easiest year for the Premier League. I think the bottom 3 are going to go down. The bottom 3 are the 3 promoted teams are going to go down. Luton, Sheffield United, and Burnley. I think it's going to be like that. There's a 3-point gap between Bournemouth and Luton. I think that will continue to widen, and it'll be Luton, Sheffield, and Burnley will quickly go down. I think certainly by February, I think you'll see it's pretty much nailed on. And I think it's the most difficult time in the championship. I think this championship season is going to be very, very cutthroat, at least like specifically for like a Borough or a West Brom or a team that's been in and around the playoffs for the past few years, but for whatever reason couldn't get promoted. It's a tough year for them. Graham Smith says Luis Sinisterra's loan spell with Bournemouth finally starts to show some signs of life. A reminder of his Leeds United situation. Promotion equals power and options in Leeds would be in Leeds' hands might be a secondary concern for the Cherries right now, as they are in a little bit of a scrap. I think they stay up. I think Areolas probably keeps his job, and I think he'll start. Whether he stays injury-free is the real concern, in my opinion. But he's got bags of talent. We've seen it. We see what he can do. Most goals and assists for Leeds United in the championship. Crescencio Somerville, 6 goals, 5 assists. Jorginho Rutter, 8, 3 goals, 5 assists. Dan James, 8, 4 goals, 4 assists. And Joel Perreault, 6 goals, 1 assist. That's right. He's finishing the dinner. Joel Perreault. Look, and this kind of goes back to the title of my video. I talked about where I was wrong and where I was right. Basically, I was right. I said Dan James would start week in, week out. Go look at the video. It's a month and a half old. Like it or not, I said Dan James will start. He does things that the other wingers don't. And he's got money in the bank, and he shows up to work. He's a lunch pail, kind of blue-collar winger. And Willie, I love him. I love his game. I think his ceiling's one of the highest on the team. But Willie didn't do himself any favors with the manager over the summer and needs to fight for his place back in the side. Got injured. So, Dan James is starting. I said if they could keep Crescencio Somerville, that would be huge. I was right there. And I said over the summer when everybody was blaming the 49ers for the situation that we were in, I said when it's pencils down September 1st, we can talk about the window. But right now, it's about who we can keep. And we kept Cree, we kept Ruter, we kept Willie. We got rid of the dead weight. And look at what they brought in Joel Perreault. They bought the breast striker. They brought in Ampadu. They brought in Rodon. They tried to bring in Spence. Hopefully he can get some game time and be part of this. Hopefully promotion season. They didn't get mugged off by Bournemouth. They got Anthony in the door. So I didn't panic. Then I was right about Dan James. I just want to say, I guess I was right. I guess I was right. Patting myself on the back. I guess I was right. Not too much I've messed up on this season. Sam Greenwood, Agent Greenwood's goal against Leicester City. Look, we know he's a dead ball specialist. He needs to continue to get that time. Maybe Carrick's going to develop him. We'll see. Did some good work there. I talked about the table. Little bit on the injury situation I want to talk about. Farke in the post-match press conference a few days ago after the Plymouth win. Farke says Byram has a hamstring strain. He felt pain after the sprint. Had to bring Junior on in a period where I would have made it easier for him after being out for such a long time. With Sam, we have to wait longer for assessment. So we might see the Firpo Cooper partnership back there. Slightly concerning, very concerning in the Premier League with Jesse Marsh. Maybe not so with Farke in the Championship, but we'll see. You got to prove yourself. Farke not delighted that Rotterdam was moved to Friday night, as we mentioned at the end of the international break when Leeds have lots of players away, but it's not Rotterdam's fault. we adapt. We have players, and we will have training sessions for them. Farka didn't think Leeds suffered from the absence of Strauch. Felt that they coped well without him, and happy with the way Cooper played. I have to praise us after Plymouth goal because we did not give away one more chance. Look, here's my assessment on Cooper. I think he can still put in shifts. I think he still can put a foot and a pass wrong. But overall, my concern with Cooper, at least before the Plymouth game, was really he wasn't reading the game well. He was a little bit slow on just reading the game, reading kind of the way attacks were coming at him, and add to the fact that he's not as fast as he used to be. That was my concern with Cooper. But if he can get that sorted out, he's more than capable to do it at this level. Obviously, Fark said that he would take all 3 points all day long. If you offered me before the game, I would have signed for it. Yeah, it was a little bit of a trap game. They call it, you guys call it a banana skin. A little bit of that. Said we were dominant. Yeah, I agree with that, but it was a little bit of a squeaker at the end. Let's see here. And that's it. That is it as far as everything I've got. I want to go over your guys' comments, and then we will skedaddle out of here. Thanks for watching. Smash the like if you haven't already. Let's see your comments. Dave Charlie says, I have to say you were right about Dan James. I apologize. He can do it at this level. Yes, he can. And he just does the little things. He's kind of like the Bamford of wingers maybe a few years ago. I don't know. I don't think he'll lose his confidence, though. He's kind of like, he's got a little bit of a swag to him, Dan James, even though he does final touch, and his decision-making sometimes lets him down. Nanto needs to cop on and get his head down if he wants to move away. Yeah, F70 Kelly, that was more about the stuff that came out a few weeks ago, or maybe it was just a week ago, about his agent saying that if he's not starting, he will move. I think he needs a new agent. That's basically what I'm going to boil that down to. Paul Atkins says, Nanto's agent shouldn't be stirring the pot when the man's not performing. 100% agree there. Up, says Bab. Great video. Thanks. Martin Cook asked, have we paid for Rafinha yet? Also, Calvin. Sheesh. I don't know if we paid for Calvin, or I'm sorry, gotten the RAF money. Supposedly, Raz was going to sue Barca if we didn't. I don't know. I think that's rumors. There's been some reports that we haven't been paid. He might move on from Barcelona now. Aronson's rubbish. Sell him for $3 million. Yeah, I agree with that, Shabazz. Absolutely. So, I mean, $3 million. I'll take a bath on that. I don't see him getting in this side. How about that? I think that's it on the comments. Let me just. Those are some of the ones I haven't responded to. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess, as far as the comments go. All right. That's it for me. Thanks for tuning in. We'll do this again sometime. Happy international break. I think that Leeds can win. I think we will win. And I'm circling December 23rd. But at first, up. Winning teams keep losing teams losing. Plymouth was a losing team. We got a win. It wasn't pretty at times. It was 2-1. We got it over the line, but we kept them losing. Rotterdam, another losing team. Winning teams keep losing teams losing. That is the best way I can put it. That was a baseball saying. It seems simple, but in other words, if we lose against another winning team, it's more understandable, it's more digestible than dropping points against losing teams. You got to keep the losing teams losing. Do not be Dr. Leeds as we were last year under Jesse Marsh and others. We keep them losing. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, day, etc. Marching on, Leeds. Let's get promotion. Looking forward to the games after the break. Peace.